Let's talk about qualifying from intentions. Let me show you what intention-based qualifying looks like in practice. When I built the Pride Council Network, a fractional family office style organization connecting LGBTQ plus individuals with professionals across multiple industries, I already understood these principles. I had learned them through the hard way through years of coaching and building businesses. So from day one, I designed my qualifying process around intention alignment rather than transactional readiness. The network required recruiting accomplished professionals, psychiatrists, financial professionals, estate planners, healthcare professionals, people who are already successful in their fields and had no obvious reason to join something new. And I could have approached them in a traditional way, selling them on additional revenue streams, marketing exposure, and network effects. Those benefits are definitely real and are measurable as well, that I can promise and guarantee. But I never led with any of that, and I never will. My intention with the Pride Council Network was about addressing specific pain points I had witnessed in the LGBTQ plus community around financial services, healthcare access, and professional support. I had seen the gaps. I had felt the frustration of watching people that I care about struggle to find professionals who understand their specific situations. And that was why I built what I built. So when I qualified potential partners, I was not asking about their client acquisition process or the capacity for new patients. I was asking completely different questions. What problems do you see in the community that you serve? What pain points have you noticed that nobody seems to be addressing? What would you change about how your industry serves this population if you could change anything? These questions filtered for alignment, for shared vision, for people who saw the same problems I saw and felt the same urgency I felt about solving those problems. The psychiatrist who lit up when I asked about community pain points, who started telling me about the gaps in culturally competent care and the barriers to access she witnessed daily. That's somebody whose intention aligned with mine. The psychiatrist who immediately pivoted to compensation questions was telling me something important too. Not that they were a bad person or a bad professional, just that their intentions pointed in a different direction of mine. And I was not going to waste either of our time trying to force alignment that didn't exist. And this is what made the Pride Council Network work from the beginning. I wasn't trying to close professionals on my product. I was trying to close them on my intention. And when someone's intention aligned with mine, they saw what I saw and felt what I felt about it. The business conversation became simple. It became obvious. It became two people figuring out the logistics of doing it together, what they both already wanted. Traditional qualifying asks one fundamental question. Is this person ready to buy? It examines budget, authority, need, and timeline. It filters for transactional readiness. Intention-based qualifying asks a complete different question. Does this person see and feel the same problems I see and feel? It examines alignment, values, and shared vision. It filters for partnership opportunities. This is specifically talking about me recruiting new professionals to be a part of the Pride Council Network. However, it still applies to clients. When you are qualifying your clients, you're qualifying if they're in the buying window for your product or your service. When I'm qualifying clients, I'm qualifying, do we both share the same pain, or have we both seen or experienced the same pain? And if so, how can together we stop that? And yes, let's just say that I'm working with a client, a potential coaching client, someone who determines that, oh, hey, Charming might have enough vision to really help expand my vision about business or about life. I'm going to examine, hey, first off, I understand a need for why coaching even exists. That's why I even came into business in the first place. And there's some way that there's some portion of you values coaching enough to where you want to ask for coaching and we want to be in this sort of partnership together. So I'm not going to ask, I'm not trying to identify if they're in the buying window to, spend money to pay me $1,000 an hour for coaching, because that's not the point. The point is there a shared vision? Do we both see similar problems? And if so, how can I help you and you also help me to where we can put together, serve that ultimate problem and solve it together? Because me solving it within you is ultimately knocking one person down from having to deal with that problem. And you solving it with me helps you to where you don't have to do that. And maybe, just maybe, you can go and change the world with the level of impact of which you want. Let's bring it to a client perspective. Let's say I've got a client in my finance agency, somebody who sits down with me. Hey, do you understand the difficulties that happens when someone gets horribly sick? Do you understand the problems with that, as well as why America isn't prepared for moments like that. Why aren't we? That's one of the major problems that I want to stop because financially that destroys people. I just got a client who's freshly after having to liquidate her 401k, her IRAs, IUL, her stock accounts, and also took all the equity from her home because her loved one just became horribly disabled while also being diagnosed with cancer. All at the same time. If my client understands the importance of that, or if my prospective client understands the importance of that, my qualifying process is about, do we both see that same pain that a potential person can have? Let me make sure that that doesn't happen within you. And I'm looking to identify if they are in that understanding. If in their mind, they are in this for any level of intentions of solving these sorts of financial plagues that plague many families within America, if they're not in that realm, they're likely not even going to be in the buying window and they're likely not going to close. But if we share the same intentions, if we see the same problems, it's much easier for me to qualify them and push them along to the close so that way we can work together and have this partnership relationship.